Everybody, thanks so much for joining our session today. My name is Megan Flosky, and I'm the Senior Marketing Specialist here at V Technologies. Please feel free to ask any questions in the chat area or the Q&A area. And if we have time at the end, we'll try to get to those. And if not, Matt will follow up with you after the event's done. And I'm going to go ahead and pass things over to Matt, our Senior Sales Executive in the Acumatica channel, and he's going to start the presentation.
All right. Well, thank you, Megan. And again, thank you, everyone, for taking time to join our session. Not only our session, but for joining today or the two-day webinar. I think it's a great event, always is, but we really do appreciate everyone taking those time. So again, my name is Matt St. John, and today we're just going to do a brief overview of StarShip's integration with Acumatica. I'm going to try to highlight a few key points, but of course, you know, if anyone would like to schedule a more in-depth call where we can get kind of deeper into those weeds, do live demos, even take a look at that live integration, we can do that. You know, just feel free to reach out to me. And just to start off, I just want to tell you a little bit about V Technologies, so if you're unaware of who we are. So at V Technologies, we have been developing integrated shipping solutions since 1987. That is all we do at VTech is integrated shipping software. We don't try to get into anything else. And everything that we do is being done in-house. So most importantly, things like support, development, QA, we're not outsourcing any of that. So it's all done in the office. We are a UPS ready provider as well as a Platinum FedEx compatible solution. And basically what that means is our solution, StarShip, is certified for both UPS and FedEx. So things like our shipping labels are going to be delivered to you already certified or to the clients. That way they don't have to worry about getting them certified. We take care of that. We are also part of the carrier subsidy programs because, again, we are a certified vendor for those softwares. Now, we do integrate with over a dozen other ERP systems, but I've been integrated with Acumatica for 7 years now. And we actually are proud to say we are the longest integrated shipping solution with Acumatica. Of course, going on 8 years, but it's been a great run. Acumatica is such a great program, honestly, compared to the other ERP systems that we work with. And over the 35 years that we've been in business, we've actually had over 10,000 customers or companies that have used StarShip to help streamline their day-to-day shipping activities. Okay, so really that's the name of the game here with StarShip. Really, we want to take shipping process and make it as streamlined, make it as easy as possible. So with that, of course, we don't want the shipper to have to click, type, touch. You know, we want to take that, and the less they have to do, of course, the better. Okay. Now, our integration with Acumatica, it is literally basically plug and play connection. What we do, of course, we're communicating with Acumatica through APIs, but on our end, it's simple data mapping. So we can really take any of the Acumatica fields and point those to either standard StarShip fields, and point those either to standard Acumatica fields. We could use reference fields, or if we need, the customer attribute fields. And that's both bringing data in as well as passing data back. All right. So of course, with StarShip, you know, we can pull by sales order records, shipment records. Obviously, most clients it is by the shipment record. And with that, again, we're going to just data map all the information. So we're going to bring in the ship to, the ship via, so the carrier, the service, even things if we're having clients do third-party type shipments or bill recipient. That's things we can automate where it just comes in, StarShip automatically changes the billing type. We can even automatically populate the third-party account number and even validate that. So StarShip's not going to allow a shipper to send out anything with an invalid billing account number. Right? That way, we're not going to get charged for that shipment by the carrier. Okay, so again, very simple. We don't have to get encoding. Even on the write back, like I said, we could send back into reference fields. Out of the box, we do send back things like freight costs and freight price. So we're going to be able to see, hey, what was my cost for this shipment, as well as what I'm charging the customer. Right? Even get into doing write back rules. So, hey, maybe we do have an order that's coming from a website, and we just want StarShip to not override the freight price because it's already been charged on the website. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, it is a multi-carrier, multi-mode. So from StarShip, basically one user program, a shipper is going to be able to ship things like small parcel shipments, LTL, even do things like blind drop shipments. We do fully support that. And again, these are things that we can automate. So StarShip brings in the data. We can automatically change the company name. So it changes it if we are required to do blind drop shipments. Now, even with that, when at time we want to process a shipment, of course, StarShip's going to generate things like shipping documents. So our shipping labels, packing slips, but even with the shipping documents, we can create unlimited templates for each of the type of documents and then have StarShip with rules. So for example, if we are doing a blind drop shipment and maybe we need a packing list that shows the vendor's information, maybe their logo. We have a lot of clients that do that, and StarShip knows, okay, hey, for example, this is a shipment for Home Depot. Let me populate this special packing list that has their logo, their information. Even with Home Depot, they have a whole return section. So we simply create that inside StarShip, and StarShip knows to populate it at the correct time. Right. Now, the other nice thing with building a multi-carrier strategy with StarShip, we do integrate with over 24 small parcel as well as LTL type carriers. And I'll show you a brief example of those on the next slide. But with those integrations, it's a live call. So we're going to ping those carriers, return things like published list rates, live negotiated contract rates. And then even inside StarShip, we have applied rate column, and that would simply be plus or minus any freight rules, because inside StarShip, we can set up rules where, hey, maybe certain customers receive a discount, or maybe we're shipping one certain item that's fragile, and we want StarShip to automatically update and add, say, a flat rate. So StarShip can even, again, add or subtract from those freight rules. Right. And again, that applied is usually what we're going to push back into the StarShip program. But along with rating, that is something else we can automate, where maybe we just want StarShip to do best way shipping and have it automatically rate shop and then select the least expensive carrier, or maybe the least amount of delivery days. So we definitely can automate that. We have functions like switch rules where, hey, again, maybe it's a certain customer, and every time they want a shipment to go out, it has to go maybe on UPS second day on this account number. So we could automate that. I even have clients that use attribute fields as like a checkbox, and maybe it's on the sales order. And one of my clients, they actually sell chocolate. And what they do is have a checkbox on the sales order that the sales rep or customer service rep selects anytime the weather's above 75 degrees. StarShip simply looks at that field, and it knows if that field is selected, automatically change the carrier to a second day service. So there's less chance the chocolate melts. Okay. Also, advanced functionality. So as I mentioned with the custom rules, we can do the ship vias, the writing back, the printing logic, any clients that have hazmat requirements. StarShip actually has a database for inventory items, and we could set up where we automatically start storing those items on the fly. But the reason we do that, is because maybe inside Acumatica, we're not storing information like, hey, this is a hazardous item, and these are the hazardous requirements. Or again, maybe we're doing LTL, and we want to set up those NMFC codes, subcode, freight classes, things like that. So the nice thing, that could all be stored inside of inside of StarShip. But on the flip side, of course, a lot of clients, I want to store all that inside Acumatica. So again, we could have just custom fields that information's stored in, and those could live on like the item record. It doesn't have to be in the shipping record. We can look at customer maintenance fields, sales order fields, again, shipments, item records. So that's the nice thing with the functionality of StarShip. We probably want to have all that information living in Acumatica, but we do have databases for that additional information just in case. So StarShip could be set up, again, to just streamline that whole process. So if I'm doing an international shipment, I don't have to worry about stopping and selecting NMFC code, hazmat or Schedule B codes. We can even tell StarShip, hey, what type of international documents do I need to generate? Because, of course, StarShip's going to be able to generate things like commercial invoices, certificate of origins. On the LTL side, bill of lading forms, of course, our packing slips, and as I mentioned, those certified shipping labels. So a lot of different options there. Now, of course, if anyone is needing or using EDI or Acumatica's WMS integration, that's also a plug and play. So on the WMS side, the real nice thing about WMS, I always say this, is, it's going to help eliminate those mispicks or overships. And the nice thing there, as a shipper, I'm going to be able to define, or even as a picker packer, I'm going to be able to define all my shipping details through a handheld device. So I can select packages, even maybe we want to scan in box dimensions, weights. But of course, that item to box detail is all going to be done on the handheld. And then however we define that information is how it's going to flow into the StarShip program. So now as a shipper, I don't have to worry about doing that inside a StarShip. Now, of course, even if we wanted to manually do item box detail, maybe we weren't using a WMS, we can do that in the StarShip program. You could also manually do it on the shipping record inside Acumatica. And same thing, that's how it's going to flow into StarShip. So there's a lot of different workflows that you can have with the StarShip integration to Acumatica. Again, though, using that WMS, the nice thing is all that information is going to flow in. And because we can really populate as much information as needed through a WMS, you can even then get into StarShip's batch processing feature, where if we want, we can select as many shipments or sales orders as we need and just click a button. StarShip automatically just going to start processing those shipments. Okay, so just start printing out our shipping documents and of course sending that information back into Acumatica. Okay, so with that information on the right back, again, it's going to be things like freight cost, freight amount, additional fields. With StarShip's custom built-in write back feature, you can actually take as much additional shipping information as you need and pass it back into, again, maybe you want to use attribute fields to get that data back into. We could also write a note, and again, it's up to you what writes back onto that note, say on the shipment record. I have clients that we write back the dimensional weight compared to the scale weight, because nowadays dimensional weight is a big deal, and that's something else StarShip does calculate. So if we put in dimensions or selects a box size inside StarShip, it's actually going to show me the carrier's dimensional calculation and show me those differences. So now maybe as a shipper, I want to stop and say, hey, you know what? I'm saying this box weighs 8 pounds, but dimensionally the carrier says they're going to charge me for 19 pounds. So maybe they could say, maybe I can get this into a smaller box and put in the new dimensions, and then StarShip automatically going to calculate and show them, okay, yeah, you're going to be billed at the correct 8 pounds, the same as the scale weight. Right? So there's things like that we automatically take care of. And even with those dimensional weights, if there is a difference, maybe we can't get it in a smaller box. When we rate shop, StarShip's going to be rate shopping at that correct dimensional weight. And then same thing as a shipper, when I process that shipment, it's going to go to the carrier at that correct dimensional weight. So later on, you're not going to receive that bill that says, hey, you sent that box out at 8 pounds, but dimensionally it's 19. Okay. And of course, with the EDI integration, we integrate with the EDI solutions out there in the Acumatica environment. And with that, what StarShip's going to do when we process a shipment, it's also going to update those EDI fields that the EDI solutions have. So with things like tracking information, any of that required information, StarShip's automatically going to pass back. And then of course the EDI solution is going to take that and use it to upload, generate the ASNs, update those trading partners. So as you see, it's a all around solution with a lot of plug and play integrations, no custom programming really is required. And here again are some of those carriers that we do integrate with. So as I mentioned, these are live integrations, and it's just going to ping the carriers, return things like published list rates, live contract rates. We do even fully support any contract options or carrier options like FedEx One rate, anything like that. So if you have any additional contract options with the carriers, we do fully support that. Also on the LTL side, the nice thing is, hey, maybe I'm using 5 different LTL carriers and I don't want to have to go to each individual website or call them to find out rates or schedule pickups. Those are things StarShip can automatically do. Out of the box, all the carriers do fully support things like live rate shopping. A lot of the LTL carriers also support, as I mentioned, electronic pickup or automatically returning pro numbers. Right? So like I said, multi-carrier, multi-mode, and especially nowadays, still even with COVID going on, some of the carriers are backlogged. So it's nice to be able to see, I'm going to be able to see, hey, I have these 5 different carriers, and maybe carrier 1 can't get it delivered because StarShip's going to also show me delivery dates, as well as days in transit. So maybe I want to see that information and be able to find the carrier that's going to be able to get it there to me in the least amount of time. And our e-commerce integrations. So with StarShip, as you see, we do integrate with these e-commerce sites. Now, I always talk about this because it's more on the back end. So when we process a shipment through StarShip, it's really just going to automatically, as I mentioned, update the Acumatica records with all the shipping information, but it is also, if we wanted to, it's going to be able to update the e-commerce site. So for example, if we're having an e-commerce site using Shopify, we're automatically going to mark that order complete. If we shipped it complete, we're going to drop the tracking information on the order site, as well as, again, if you want to send back additional notes, any of the additional shipping information, that could go up into the note field. So again, though, it's more on the back side. Of course, if you're using like Acumatica's e-commerce integration, which I always recommend, because the nice thing with that, of course, it's going to automatically monitor your website and create the sales orders inside of Acumatica. So we really don't get into that, part of it, but we will, if you need, update the information on the back end. And again, if you are using a built-in e-commerce integration, then StarShip's integration is not going to be required, because what StarShip is going to do out of the box, we're going to drop the Sage tracking information into the correct Sage tracking tables. And then the e-commerce integration is simply just going to take that from there and upload it. So, you don't require that integration. Okay. And then here's just here's a snapshot of just some of our current Acumatica customers. Like I said, we're going on to this coming year is going to be 8 years we've been working with Acumatica. Again, great program. But these are some of the clients that are taking advantage of StarShip's integration with Acumatica, using that live rate shopping feature, that custom built in right back, where we can send back as much shipping information as we can get into the Acumatica tables. Right? So really, they're taking advantage of streamlining their shipping, using StarShip to automate that whole process. Okay. So I think we have, let me see here, about 10 minutes. I'm going to take this time to see if there are any questions, and I'm just going to go over to the question pane to just see, or if Megan, if you say anything, please feel free to let me know. But I'll take a break here for a second and see if we have any questions. Also, if not, please feel free to stop by our booth in the Expo Center. We do have some polls. We appreciate if you take the time to just fill out those polls and just give us some further information about your shipping. Like I said, feel free to reach out to myself. I'm more than happy to schedule calls, live demos, discovery calls, so we can understand requirements and show you basically how StarShip's going to fulfill those shipping needs that you might have. Okay, so there are no questions. Let's see, what else can I talk about with my 10 minutes? Kind of went through everything rather quickly. With StarShip, of course, it is a cloud-based solution. So we do also offer an on-prem. So we do have two different varieties of the StarShip. Of course, with Acumatica, probably going to want to go with that on-prem, or I'm sorry, the cloud-based solution. But with that, just know we do have those two different offerings. The functionality between the two versions, it is really the same. It's not you're not gonna lose anything compared to one or the other. Both versions of one thing I did forget to mention, StarShip not only talking about how we're going to help the warehouse or our shippers, but we also help the front office. We do include things like our dashboard program, which is just a reporting tool where anyone, it does not require any additional user seats or licenses, can access information, shipments process. Maybe we want to see what's voided or late delivery. Maybe something wasn't delivered on time. So StarShip's going to notify us through a report or through a graph or widget that, hey, this package wasn't delivered on time. That way, maybe you want to notify your customer first, or you can also reach out to the carrier and get your refund for that shipment. So also in that dashboard program, we have our e-notify program, and that is going to allow you to actually design your own custom email templates. And I know Acumatica has the same, email programs, but with StarShip, the kind of nice thing with that is you're going to be able to send your customers a branded email that has your information, not the carriers. It's not going to be labeled UPS or FedEx. So nice thing, that custom emails. And then in those emails, of course, we can bring in Acumatica fields. Maybe, of course, you want to show them the PO number or the sales order number, the carrier that was used, where it's going to. Hey, maybe you're going to expect 3 boxes. You can even bring in the ETA from the carrier so the client knows, hey, when this is going to arrive. And then in the body, you can even do things like, okay, here's box 1. Here's the items that we put in box 1. Here's box 2. Here are the items that are in box 2. And then on those packaging details, it's actually going to have the tracking number that will be hyperlinked. So the customer can click on it and be directed to the carrier's website so they can track the package and really help eliminate those calls of just customers reaching out to you saying, hey, where's my shipment? Give them that power. Also from sales order entry, customer service sales reps are going to be able to complete a sales order. And then we actually add a StarShip button inside the sales order module. And again, this is included, does not require any additional user seats or licenses. That way the customer service rep can click on that. And that's going to open up StarShip's rate shop tool. And in that tool, they're going to be able to build the item box detail, of course, do live rate shopping. So when they're doing an order, they can actually see the live rates. And then even inside StarShip, if we have those freight rules set up, they're going to be able to see those freight rules. Oh, hey, your customer ABC, you qualify for free shipping. Or, hey, oh, your order's over X amount of dollars, you receive free shipping. So a lot of different tools that we offer to give the power, not only, again, to the warehouse, but to the customer service reps, basically that front office. Right? So again, not only helping the warehouse, but also the front office. And I'll take a moment here to see if any other questions came up. If not, in the meantime, I'll just pop up my contact information here and let's quickly get to that. I got to just go through a couple slides here. I had some screenshots, but I just want to bring up my contact information. But like I said, feel free to reach out or just stop by our booth. We are going to be monitoring the booth during the expo hours, and more than happy to answer any more questions there. Okay. So, Megan, do we have any other questions? Or
yeah, we do have a question that came in. Nicole asked, when you're implementing StarShip, do you assist with setting up labels and label printers?
Oh, great question. Yes, we do. So our install team is going to take you through the complete setting up, configuration. That's things like scales. We do integrate with scales. So if you have a scale that can be integrated, like I said, we could set that up. So they just throw the package on a scale. StarShip automatically brings in that weight. Other things, I have clients that even in my demo system where, hey, if we have the weight set up inside of Acumatica, we can simply map in those weights and then we don't even need to use a scale. But we are going to set up the printers, your labels. Also with the labels, as I mentioned, they are certified. We also support branded labels. So if you need to throw your logo on a label, that is something we support. And it is very simple for us. Basically, we're just going to add the snapshot of your logo onto that label. But yep, our support team or install team is going to help go through that. Really, if you move forward, or basically our process is, if you want to move forward with StarShip, we're going to set up a pre-install call with the implementation tech that is going to be doing your implementation. On that call, they're going to go over things like mappings. Again, hey, what type of printers do you use? What type of scales? With that also, they're going to talk about, do you want to use user-defined fields? So that's really going to set it up so when they go to do the install, they, of course, know what they're doing. We're not going to run into any hiccups or anything like that, really have all those ducks in a row, so to say. So it's a smooth implementation. And then, of course, after that, our team is going to train. We can do train the trainer or, of course, train individual employees. Really, the training time, it's up to the clients how they want to do that. We can do half-hour sessions, 1-hour sessions, but, whatever's comfortable with the client. We usually like to do it in a live environment. So, hey, let's pull some live orders. Also with StarShip, again, with that cloud module, just know we have different tiers based on your shipping volumes. And all our clients do receive their first 30 days for free. So it's a nice thing. You can try it out, test it out, make sure you like it. But those first 30 days are free. And again, at any time, we can jump in there, help clients with questions. We have a very knowledgeable support team that will go through everything with through the implementation or even after. Maybe you have a question about something, you always feel free. You could chat our team, email them, or of course pick up the phone and call them.
Matt, we do have another question that came in. Someone's asking, while setting up Acumatica, do we help take care of field mapping for smooth transfer?
That is correct. So we are going to data map all those fields. Like I said, inside StarShip, very simple. In the back end, we just have different, basically you could set up different interfaces. So I have some client, oh yeah, we're going to demo this or test it out first. So they set up a test interface, and then we have our live interface, and you can switch them at any time. We do also support, I should have mentioned this earlier, multiple companies, locations, warehouses, divisions. So even some clients for testing, let's just point it to a test company. and test it that way. But most certainly behind the scenes, really the way StarShip works is here are all the StarShip fields. And then we go, say, for example, for carrier service. Of course, we're going to look at the ship vias. So we select carrier service, and then it's just going to show us, okay, here are all the, for example, Acumatica fields. Now, in that case, we'll select ship via, and then it's going to simply show us, here are all the ship via codes that they currently have set up in Acumatica. And of course, the ship via is also a value translation. So maybe you have UPSG. We're going to tell StarShip that equals UPS ground. So yes, we're going to help with that. The only thing we really don't like to do, and usually don't do it, is if you want to use an attribute field, we really prefer that your reseller sets those up for you. And also with the implementation going through, we also like to have the reseller involved, of course, because they understand your environment. They'll let us, they know if you have custom or attribute fields, or if there's anything we should be concerned about. But we are going to take you through all those mappings. And again, if you have attribute fields or want to bring in a reference field through that pre-install call, that's where we're going to determine all that. And then during the installation and implementation, we'll configure everything for you.
Okay, awesome. And then Matt, I was hoping you could talk a little bit about just some of the people are probably familiar with StarShip on-prem, but I'm not sure everybody's as familiar with StarShip Cloud. So if we could just talk about a couple of those differences and benefits.
Yep. Yeah, no problem. And I was starting to get into that. I kind of got sidetracked, but so as I mentioned, functionality, look and feel is all going to be the same between the two different offerings. But really with the cloud, it comes down, it's SaaS-based pricing. So we can pay month to month, or if you wanted to, you could prepay for a year, and we do offer a 15% discount. But with the different tiers or plans that we have for the cloud version, again, it's just based on shipment volumes. All right. So how many small packages do we send out per month? If we're doing LTL, how many LTL shipments do we send out? And with an LTL shipment, of course, that could be 25 boxes, 5 pallets. That's just one shipment. So it's usually relative to, hey, I process 15 Acumatica shipments for LTL. Then that's usually, hey, you process 15 LTL shipments through StarShip. But also with those plans, you do gain access to all the carriers. So we have small parcel plans where you're going to gain access to all our small parcel carriers. And then in a small parcel LTL plan, you get, of course, all the small parcel and all the LTL carriers. Things like user seats, that's unlimited. So you can have as many users access StarShip if you like. Again, usually with StarShip user seats, it comes down to our shippers or who's processing shipments, because the front office is going to be able to do rate shopping without using a StarShip user seat. We also have that dashboard program. So if we want to run reports or matrix, you can access that without using a StarShip user seat. But again, those are all going to be unlimited. E-commerce integrations, they're all included with our cloud-based offering. Right? And then the flip side of that, with the on-prem, it's more a la carte where, okay, I need these 2 carriers. I need 5 users. So it's kind of on-prem is a greater upfront fee. And there's annual maintenance that goes along with that. But honestly, with Acumatica, most of our clients do run the cloud version, and very, very happy with it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Matt. And now, everybody, if there's not any other questions, we have like about a minute, but you can go ahead and we're going to be doing the networking, and that's over on the people's area on the control panel of Hop In here. And you can do a video one-on-one chat, or the stage is also going to be open as well. And Matt, did you have any final comments? I just wanted to let you know about the time.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, again, we appreciate really everyone coming. Of course, as I mentioned, joining acu-connect 2022, but taking the time to stop by this session, I do appreciate it. And as Megan mentioned, please stop by our booth or feel free to reach out to me. More than happy to answer any additional questions or schedule a call so we can talk and go kind of more deep into the weeds.
Okay, great. And everybody, hope you enjoy the rest of acuCONNECT today. And again, like Matt said, if you have any questions, please stop by the booth. We'll be in there all day.